It is Friday, May 10th, Gigantic Pop. I'm Raj Giri along with the Blueprint Matt Morgan. Matt, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. Good to see you again, brother.
Good to see you too. One of these days, we'll have the three of us back on. Glenn is in LA for his wife's birthday. They're actually checking out Sami Zayn doing stand up tonight in LA. So that
Huh.
should be interesting.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I don't know how long he's been doing it, but if he ever comes to Denver, I'm checking it out.
Yeah, I bet you he's pretty good at it.
Yeah. So a lot's happened. It hasn't been the craziest of news weeks this week, but a lot has happened with the pay-per-view last week. Me and Glenn talked about it last weekend, but you weren't able to join us. Matt, what were your thoughts on the pay-per-view?
Phenomenal. Now, are the French people going to start singing in the background? I just thought, sorry about the beeping. It's my alarm. It was exceptional pay-per-view. I really loved the what's up, Ricky? What's up, Dan? I loved all the participation from the audience. It was unreal. Unreal. I would have killed to wrestle that in front of that kind of crowd. Now, I have been to France, believe it or not, before, with WWE and with TNA. And they were good fans. They were always very passionate, but nothing like that. That was just awesome. The matches all were great, but just so much more was added to it. Like some matches I normally probably wouldn't have cared too much about, except for really the main event, really. But dude, they made me a bigger fan of each match because the fans were so enthralled with everything. WWE is just on this pace right now, dude. It's all like steady stream downhill, coasting, smaller sets for the introduction of the wrestlers, the smaller, Titantron, because they're packing the building so tightly now. I love it. I love this time for WWE right now.
Yeah, it's they've been killing it. This pay-per-view, it didn't have the most interest going into it. The Google trends were really low compared to other pay-per-views. It did feel going in like it was kind of a throwaway show. You kind of knew Cody was winning.
Yes.
But it way over delivered. The main event was great. That the Randy Orton, Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline, that tag match was great. The women's match was great. A lot of really good stuff on the show, and then the crowd just took it to another level, making it, pretty much a must see.
So if I can, I know we have scheduled some things we want to talk about, and say what's up to our friends J.R. Smith, Greg, Ricky. Again, Steven with a PH. What up?
Yeah.
All right, really quick. I did want to make a quick. You see, Pat? Sorry. I did want to make a quick detour just for 2 seconds about the Bloodline, real quick. What did you think? I like that my boy Tongaloa debuted. I think that's awesome. I'm excited for him. He's a really good dude in real life. But with frigging my man Fatu waiting in the wings, he is such a great looking heel. Just physically how he works. He does cool moves. I could see people popping for it if you want to make him a babyface. But I'm just very, very curious now how they're going to debut him, because I almost think if Roman comes back, he's going to be some type of babyface, right? And maybe he need him with him on his side, because the Usos cannot just up and join Roman right away. That can't happen. There has to be some storytelling to get us there with layers. They can't just say, oh, we're family, so we're back together. He put them through hell and back. Hell and back he put them through. So, I mean, they bring Fatu in as a babyface. In my opinion, they should have brought him in first. I really believe that. Yes, he would have outshined everybody as far as the new Bloodline is concerned. Yes, he would have, because he looks different. He wrestles different. His promos are friggin' different. Everything about him is different. So maybe that's why they didn't debut him. I don't know. What's your opinion?
Yeah, this whole thing about Jacob Fatu possibly overshadowing Solo Sikoa. I'm like, so what? Let the cream rise to the top.
Right?
If he should be in that spot, if he should be the leader, that's another story going into it. Because right now, I think with Solo, the Bloodline just doesn't feel as strong. Obviously, it doesn't feel as strong. Not having Roman, but having extra guys, I don't think makes up for the lack of Roman. So they need something extra, and hopefully Jacob Fatu can get it there, because it does feel really unbalanced. Even with all those guys and just one guy with Roman, it feels unbalanced. So they need something.
They do. They definitely do. And they should. I'll be honest. Like anybody would kill for the spot Solo Sikoa's in right now, me included. Right? If I was still wrestling, but you also don't want to be putting spots that you're not ready for. With respect, he's not ready to be the leader of that group. He's just not. It's nothing against him. It's nothing he's doing wrong. It's not his deal. They put him in the strong silent role for a reason, to groom him, get him experience, get him reps, so he can wrestle anybody. Okay, great. That's been accomplished. He can wrestle anybody. But the promo component of it and being believable as a leader, he just doesn't look like it. Even the suit he was wearing, it felt like creative went to him that day and said, all right, you're the leader. You need to wear this suit. Here you go. Do you know what I mean? Versus like Roman would come out wearing his like workout gear, like his sweatpants and his Bloodline t-shirt, and he still looked like a megastar, no matter what that guy wore.
Right.
And here you're dressing him up. You're dressing Solo up fancy to try to pawn off that he's the leader. It doesn't work. I don't know what. Man, I just wish they would have just debuted Jacob Fatu.
Yeah,
I'm dying.
Yeah, that's coming sooner or later. Who knows? It might happen tonight on SmackDown, but it's got to be coming sooner and later. I feel like SmackDown and Raw, they both need a little injection after WrestleMania. It's kind of been a lull. Cody and AJ, obviously great match, but
you don't think Punk gave that? You don't think they leaned into Punk a little heavily on that the other night?
And I mean, I think it felt weird with Punk. It felt like they were just trying to kill time, but
yes,
Punk equals ratings. It was the highest rated segment on the show, even though Punk was out there. Yeah, it was by far. But he was out there just kind of calling Drew out after he left, not really saying anything new. It felt like they were killing time, but Punk has that charisma that he gets you watching. You don't turn away. You're not going to change the channel when Punk is on. And again, that quarter did the best quarter on the show.
Wow.
And so Punk also, like after the pay-per-view last weekend, he went in the bathroom in WWE headquarters and he was changing. And when he came out, all the doors were locked. And that's happened to me before at a movie theater. Me and a buddy of mine, we were at a movie theater watching. This was back in college. We watched a movie, snuck into another one when it was over. There's a big snowstorm. When we came out of the second movie, all the doors were locked. We were locked inside. This was before cell phones were big. So it took a while to get out of the theater. But yeah, Punk was locked in.
So I've been that gym. That's the gym. That's the locker room. I met Vince McMahon and got on the radar of them wanting me to audition for Tough Enough. That exact gym. And so I'd always have to wait on a cleaning lady to come let me out when it was time to leave the gym, because you have to have a badge for being an employee there to hit the little gimmick, and then the doors would open.
Yeah. Well, this is actually the new WWE headquarters, so it's even more of a zoo.
Oh, this wasn't in Stamford, Connecticut?
So they opened a new one in Stamford. So they moved out of the old headquarters into the new one.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Which is even more crazy. It's got the giant Andre the Giant statue in front. And
wait, time out. So what's there right now where Titan Towers was?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's been taken over or if it's still just there. But yeah,
it's an awfully big building to close down.
Yeah, but they moved. They were planning to move for a while. COVID delayed it, and now they're all moved over.
I mean, you don't live there, I know that, but like, can you still see it from I-95 driving by or no?
I don't think so. I think and someone can correct me, but I think where it moved is deeper in downtown, so it's not
because that weight room looked. I'm telling you, that weight room he was in looked identical. If you look like Vince's 1980s gym with like the neon lights up on the top of it, looks very similar. Interesting.
All the red and everything, but so but obviously Punk, he had his cell phone. He's he's live streaming him in the tower, so he could have called somebody to get out. So clearly he was having fun with it. And I don't know if he was originally planned for Raw on Monday night or if he just figured, hey, I'm here, write me into the show. But Punk. It made for fun YouTube and social media watching for sure.
Yeah.
Did you see the stuff involving Ric Flair?
A little bit. When it's a he said versus he said, I try not to waste time on it just because it's different people's opinions on something. And Rick is somebody that I like a great deal.
Yeah.
And so if it's something negative like that, I try not, to read it. What did I miss though?
So there was a restaurant called Paisanos in Gainesville, and on this past Sunday, Ric Flair posted to social media that he had been asked to leave the restaurant after an altercation with the kitchen manager in the bathroom. Now later, Flair said that the kitchen manager first asked Flair for an autograph in the bathroom. Flair said he doesn't do it. The manager went into the bathroom. Was taking forever, was texting and stuff on it. Finally, Flair, he has his health issues. He had to go, and asked to, said he needed to use it. Kitchen manager eventually left. According to Flair, a staff member later came up and berated him for being a peeping Tom, and then video was released of Flair's altercation with the staff at the restaurant, and Flair was going off on the guy, calling him a dick and a pussy, and asked him to go outside. Then one of the guys sitting at the bar, just a patron at the restaurant, told Flair, "Hey, I'll go outside." And Flair was like, "What'd you say?" And it just kind of died out after that. Flair was offering $1,000 tips if they called the manager a dickhead to the other staff. So,
oh God,
yeah. Anyway, so it was Flair. The next day, he said he could sue the restaurant. He has the money to buy it and call it Ric Flair's Italian Bistro. And later on in the week, cooler heads prevailed. Flair was a guest on the MJ Morning Show on Q105. He stated he was wrong to lose his temper. He denied it was because of the alcohol. I mean, he's clearly had been drinking if you watch the video, but he did apologize, said it was wrong, and he shouldn't have gotten upset. So, and that's kind of the end of it. So, yeah. So Rick's still making headlines. Rick's still nation.
Man, but we're in a different time, man. So, you know what I mean? So, my question about the peep and Tom. So, it was a male employee in there, and they're saying he was trying to peep on this guy who he denied an autograph for to watch him go potty?
You know how in a stall you can see if someone's in there, and no. So I guess Flair, you could. There's that little crack in the stalls.
Nope.
I mean, I'm not saying you look, but there is the crack.
I'm just messing with you.
So, Flair could see the guy was texting, I guess, or heard him texting. And
okay.
So, and then I guess
so Ric Flair had to drop
other people.
So Nate had to drop a deuce. Is that what I'm taking? Is he going to get in the stall?
He's had the stomach issues when he almost died. What was that, 2017? So,
yeah.
Or 2016. Yeah. So, or 20? No, it was 2017. So yeah. So,
which was a miracle he got.
More dire when he has to go.
Bro, that was a miracle he got through that.
Yeah, I mean, I had the honor on the 1 year anniversary after that happened of being the first person to interview him. It was really, I mean, he was really emotional. It was quite the experience. So, yeah, almost died. He had quit drinking completely after that for a while, and later he said it wasn't the alcohol; it was some other medical conditions that caused it. And so, yeah, we'll see. But Nate be Nation.
Well, you know what I do for a living. I besides being deputy mayor in City of Longwood, my other 9 to 5 is I work getting people into drug and alcohol treatment every day. Very passionate about that. I'm an 18-year recovered opioid addict myself, and so I don't know how I can say this, but there's many a wrestler that I've helped get recovery, and still some to this day that I'm trying to. But it's never a perfect picture. Some people can do this without being addicted to it. I just was never one of them. I was somebody with the pills. I couldn't just take a couple like normal people could for pain. I would abuse it. You know what I mean? I couldn't live without it after a while, and then overdose 7 times along the way. But so if anybody's watching this and you are someone that struggles with addiction, hit me up. You don't have to come to one of my treatment centers that I work for here. That's not what I mean. But if you just need another voice to listen to you or give you some opinions and stuff like that, that's been there and is beating it, let me know, please.
Yeah. Also tonight on SmackDown, the King and Queen of the Ring continues the tournaments.
Okay.
It's interesting. They announced Jade Cargill will be in it, Bianca Belair and Naomi. So it's Jade Cargill versus Piper Niven, Bianca Belair versus Candice LeRae, and Naomi versus Nia Jax.
Oof.
They're going to do Shayna Baszler versus Zelina Vega at a house show. So yeah, Jade Cargill. It seems interesting to be putting her in. Unless she's going to win the thing, because you don't want her losing unless they do like a DQ or something.
That's exactly what's just in my head. She has to be in this to win. Has to be. Otherwise, what are you doing here? I know she botched her pump kick a while back, a week or so ago. That's okay. We'll take all of that because we don't know. None of us can even fathom what the finished product of Jade Cargill is going to be, you guys, because it's going to be something, in my opinion, we've never seen before. And I'm saying that as a huge Charlotte mark, who I think is I think she's the greatest female wrestler of all time. That's my opinion. Yeah. I know a lot of people don't agree with that, but that's my opinion. I do think if Jade stays with WWE and keeps learning, and they keep presenting her a certain way, she's athletic enough to be able to get up there, in my opinion. I mean that.
Yeah. Jay Miller. Yeah. Jay Miller 3389 with the $5 super chat. Thank you, Jay Miller. He said, don't understand Bianca and Jade being included in the tournament. WWE continues to kick the can down the road with the tag titles having zero meaning. Now, I think Bianca and Jade, they could be like the women's tag version of the Road Warriors. So, we'll see where they go. If they beat them both, then yeah, I agree. It does kind of weaken the title.
Well, time out. We know why they're tagging. They're tagging one to give Jade more reps, more experience while being able to watch Bianca learn on the apron while Bianca's in the ring selling, especially during the heat, paying attention. That's how I learned. I'd watch Brock. Many people give Brock shit for not selling. I used to watch him sell all the time on house shows for like Bob Holly and guys that were like mid-card matches guys. And I learned a lot that way. And that's what they're doing with Jade. And it's smart. But with that said, anybody's out of their mind if they think these two are like legit the tag team. They're put together as a tag team not to be a tag team. They're put together as a tag team because they're going to become rivals. They're going to make a lot of money together, in my opinion, when that day comes. We're nowhere near there right now. But that's why they're grouped together as a tag team. We all know it's coming. It's just a matter of time. And again, it's also to help Jade out get more experience. So they're not putting them together to be the friggin', Midnight Express or the Rock and Roll Express. Okay, they're putting those two together as two single acts that happen to be the tag team champions because they're both so independently domineering on their own. Now combined, they're like superheroes, unbeatable.
Yeah, and I think that's a WrestleMania match, Jade versus Bianca. If done right, if there's a title at stake, that could be a main event.
If done right. Words, you're right.
Yeah. And Jay Miller with another super chat. Thank you again, Jay Miller.
Oh, I'm very upset. Somebody in the chat wrote, somebody said Samantha Irvin has an annoying voice. Shame on you. Everybody shame him in the comment section right now. Taylor
Swenson. Samantha Irvin has an annoying voice. I think she's awesome.
Shame on you. I love her voice. Come on, man. Come on, Taylor.
I like that she puts, the problem I've had with WWE over the last 20 years is that the ring announcers, the backstage interviewers, they all just fade into the background. They don't stand out. She stands out. And since the Fink and Mean Gene, it's hard to find people that do, right? And she's one of the few that has.
Huge pop for Taylor. Taylor made a big comeback by saying Omos is already a better in-ring worker than Jade Cargill. Come on, Taylor.
Taylor's dropping bombs.
I'm sorry. Get to your super chat. I apologize for that, guys.
Jay Miller, 3389 with the $5 super chat. Thank you again. I like Jacob Fatu joining the Usos and Roman and Hikuleo with his brothers and Solo when his New Japan deal is up in June. I think it makes it too one-sided. All the star power, at least established star power, is on one side if you do that.
Who's?
I mean, Jacob Fatu is
Oh,
established, but
that's where it's looking on paper right now. So that's why I'm telling you, I think they messed up by not having him be the first. I was so excited. Don't get me wrong. I was super excited to see Tama Tonga make his debut. Long time coming, right? I
mhm,
still would have used that spot for Jacob Fatu, though, just because
yeah,
he's the more menacing. Even though Tama Tonga is shredded, he looks great. I'm sorry, Jacob Fatu just looks like a flat out killer, right? He
mhm,
just does. He's a great heavy, a great bodyguard, heavy heater type of role who can actually cut promos, can wrestle great matches, do it all. He's a star.
yeah.
Um, I don't know. I just thought they should have introduced him first and then Tama Tonga and then Tongaloa. If I'm butchering their names, my apologies.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it just seemed a little too one-sided. But
It would be.
realistically, the two biggest stars in the bloodline on either side are Roman and Jey Uso. You don't want to turn Jey; he's hot as babyface right now. And if Roman has to be the babyface coming back with how the
Yes.
storyline's been playing out, so there's just not that strong heel. Jacob Fatu, I think, could be that guy, but you got to get him exposure first, get the crowd used to him. But he's going to be a star.
Yes, sir.
And Mike with the $2 super chat, is the Lashley injury legit? I don't think so. It is legit. Angelo Dawkins is taking the spot. Don't know exactly what it is, but that is a legit injury. So he will not be in the King of the Ring tonight.
Can we get to Mike's other comment? Hey, Matt.
Let's see.
Hey, Matt, I just started my wrestling journey.
Let's see. Sorry, 1 second. Trying to go through these here.
Oh, wow.
Do you want to read it?
I'll just take it. So Mike says, "Hey Matt, I'm starting off as a new wrestler. I'm going to Jade Lethal's wrestling school in Florida. Any advice?" Yeah, you're at a good school with a very good trainer, and Jay's an exceptional in-ring wrestler and a very good coach. I could be as great a wrestler as I possibly could, but to be able to convey how to do it is a whole different skill set to have, and Jay has that. Jay's really talented, but he's also a talented coach. So you're at a good school, Tell him I said what's up, and good for you. Always my advice to you: this is something you really want to do. Go all in. Don't go halfway in. You can't do that with wrestling. You got to go all the way in, deep end, head first. No looking back. You know what I mean? Do whatever you got to do to put your all into it. So if it doesn't work out, at least you can say you put everything into it. The worst is when you don't put your all into it and you look back like, well, shit, I could have done this, that, and the other. That's the worst, living with regret. Okay, so put your all into it. That's all.
And Ebony Washington saying, "Hey guys, happy Friday."
What up, Eb?
Our good friend. So yeah, that's gosh. Yeah, as far as the big headlines, AEW Dynamite ratings came out this past this past week, this past Wednesday. They were up from 703,000 viewers to 711,000 viewers, so up 1%, a very negligible increase, and 0.24 both weeks. They had strong NBA and NHL competition. The NBA game that they were up against actually did 4.3 million viewers with a 1.48 18-49 rating. But the one thing we've been seeing with AEW Dynamite ratings is that they have been consistently at this level since March. Under 800,000 for the most part, and in the 0.2s, anywhere from 0.27 down to a 0.23. So they are. It's consistent. I don't see a big increase happening once the NBA and NHL playoffs are done.
So one thing I want to point out is that I got to give credit if the rating stayed the same or went up, because it would tell me if people are interested in that main event storyline or not, of what they originally did with the Punk footage. I keep going back to that because we berated them. So did everybody else. So I berated them. So did everybody else. And I still think that was stupid because it makes Jack look like a wimp. But with that said, if there's any kind of payoff to it, I'd say I got to, eat some of my words back, right? So I'm not saying they did stellar ratings. I'm not saying that. But they did try to take what they screwed up with and turn it into at least something. I'm still not seeing how Jack Perry's going to be a heel so far. He's got the smarmy little, punchable face, you know what I mean? Which is what you want as a heel. but I'm still yet to really hear him talk and cut like a lengthy promo as a heel yet, where it's going to sound real, or is he going to sound like he's acting again?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll wait to hold my judgment till I see it. But I mean, look, what do you think? Because if the rating went down, that would be something, but it didn't go down technically.
Well, it was basically even, but the truth is that the last 3 weeks have been the lowest in show history since NXT moved to Tuesday nights, since they didn't have head-to-head competition with NXT. So among the lowest in the demo and in total audience. So, again, they do have strong NBA and NHL competition, which they have every year, but they were up against a big game this week. But again, I don't see it changing much. Yeah, the Knicks and the Pacers, but I think this is kind of the level they're going to be at in the 700s once the playoffs end too. And it's one thing if you're comparing to 2 years ago, but in February they were in the 800s. So to go from the 800s to 700s is that quick. And really, they went to the 700s. It was the episode that featured the Okada debut, and it has nothing to do with Okada. I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying, coincidentally, it has to do with once they got these big name signings with Okada. Mercedes Moné was the week after that, and you had Will Ospreay as well. Again, it has nothing to do with them, but just coincidentally, it just the timing is the same. As when their ratings fell from the 800s to the 700s in terms of viewers.
Gotcha. Okay.
Majestic Marie saying he does all of his promos on social media. He's okay, but that's one of the things I have issues with AEW. All the best promos are on social media and not TV.
Huh. Maybe I should check it out.
Elite and Jack Perry.
I need to start paying closer attention then, because I'm not seeing his promos.
Yeah. So this weekend, nothing really big. We've got the next big pay-per-view coming up is AEW Double or Nothing. You've got Christian versus Swerve. Mercedes making her AEW in-ring debut against Willow. Do you think that match should go on last?
Hell no. No. Mercedes versus Willow Nightingale?
Yeah.
No.
Because they did tout it as their biggest signing, in a long time. Well, even though she hasn't meant anything for numbers.
No, she hasn't. And I'm not blaming necessarily her for that. Again, it goes back to what I always say. They need a booker, a professional wrestling booker with experience at booking TV. Because they don't put her in the best scenarios, dude. What is she? Is she a heel? Is she a face? Oh, she's a tweener, man. Leave it up to the fans to decide. Okay, that's cool and all, but you're not going to be able to predict how you're going to make your money doing that. You can't do that. You can't just say, I'll leave it up to the fans to decide on who's good and who's bad. That's lazy. That's so lazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean by that? So, also, am I supposed to cheer for her? I don't know. Mercedes, am I cheering for her? Because I look at Willow Nightingale, I'm like, she's way more lovable, way nicer sounding, and like just everything about her makes you want to like her. Where I watch Mercedes Moné, like, wow, she's the heel in this. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just feel like we were all excited about Mercedes' debut coming in.
Yes.
I still feel if used right, she can turn around that women's division, but so far hasn't been used right. Hasn't had that big name opponent right off the bat that I kind of feel like you need when, you want to strike when the iron's hot, like WWE did with Punk when he came in. They put him in the mix with Seth Rollins and the main event people. Also on the Double or Nothing, you got Serena Deeb challenging Toni Storm for the AEW women's title.
I do want to see that. Big Serena Deeb fan.
Yeah. Roderick Strong defending the international championship against Will Ospreay.
Who? Say that again?
Roderick Strong against Will Ospreay.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Roddy could wrestle circles around me, obviously. He's a great in-ring technician. I'm not going to take that away from him. But he's not somebody I'm dying to go watch on television. Do like 35 different versions of a backbreaker.
Yeah. I think I mentioned Swerve versus Christian. And then also Anarchy in the Arena, the Elite. It's going to be the Young Bucks, Jack Perry and Okada against FTR, Eddie Kingston, and Bryan Danielson. So that's the current card.
I was very surprised to see Danielson back. How about you?
I felt like they should have done more of a story to it, bringing him back. like, them asking him to join the team for a couple of weeks, and then finally Danielson agrees, as opposed to bringing him and Kingston the same week. But, whatever. It's he's a big star, and he definitely helps the pay-per-view. I just feel like this pay-per-view from a marquee standpoint doesn't feel that hot. Serena Deeb's a great wrestler, but her against Tony, I don't see as, like a big match, I guess. It feels more like a TV match.
Fair.
And same like what you were saying, Roderick Strong and Will Ospreay feels like a TV match.
True. It does.
And anarchy in the arena, it's a holdback from Stadium Stampede. And it just feels, I don't know. We'll see. It feels a little outdated now.
Don't care about that at all. I don't. We're gonna see some crazy spot. Yay! It's not exciting. I'm sorry. It's just not.
Yeah.
Boring. It's boring.
The Sousa, because a lot of people have been doing the comparison to the Elite and the NWO. The Sousa bringing up that the Elite are too small for an NWO style faction, and then noting that Jack Perry was the same size as Tony Khan.
Yes. Awesome comment. He's right.
Yeah. The one thing I feel like they messed up with that whole thing is Tony Khan getting attacked should have been a huge deal, and it feels like it's just forgotten about 2 weeks later. Like there should have been a sense of urgency, and Tony Khan is pissed, and there's chaos in AEW, and it just feels like nothing, just a couple of weeks later.
Yeah. If this was written on paper, I could see where they wrote it, though, that they're going to let the Bucks act like they're controlling the show for a few weeks, to be the authority figures, to be the heels in the equation, and just be these jerks and running everything amok and that kind of crap. But it's just so overly acted. I love don't get me wrong. I love what they're attempting to try to do with this. I do, but it just comes across as acting.
Yeah.
It just does, like they're memorizing what to say. It's not natural at all.
Yeah, and there's a huge story as far as NBC making an offer for the NBA and how that could affect AEW. I'll get to that in a second after a super chat. Zamgado Chanko saying, Matt, advice to young wrestlers on bringing back the struggle and realism in their work. Performances are great, but few matches feel like a fight.
It doesn't sound like horrible advice, but I've wrestled with guys in WWE and TNA that have never been in real fist fights before. Not many of them, but a few. So I'm not going to say which ones, but some of them were like bodybuilders, all right? And when I'd say to them, the advice William Regal gave to me was, how would you sell this if somebody really did this to you? Matt, somebody punched you in the face. How would you naturally sell it, right? And so you start from there and you work your way up. But the problem is you have so many guys nowadays. I'm not saying this to bag on them or make fun of them, guys or girls, but so many of them have never, even more today wrestling, have never been in a real fight. God bless them for it, because they're not getting in trouble. But I do argue it takes away from them being able to how to make things look realistic. That's why we see the video game wrestling moves we see today, because they're playing the shit on video games. They're not actually in a real fight on a playground or in a sports game, and it gets out of hand and they start throwing hands at each other, right? Where they know they get hit in the lip, what that feels like. Checking is your tooth still there? Is it bleeding? What motherfucker, make my tooth bleed? Yell and then go crazy on them. That kind of thing. They don't know how to naturally do it because it's never happened to them in real life. So my first thing is I do like the ones that try to employ MMA style with some of their wrestling. I do think if you've never been in a fight before, if you start going through the martial arts route, you'll have a better feel of what real things look like. All right, just don't actually cinch it in, but go through the motions of putting it up like Taker did. Taker, you ever watch Taker's punches? I still to this day think he has by far the best punches in my opinion, the history of the business. That's saying something, but it's not Hulk Hogan's hand on the dude's forehead in front of him and then punching it. It's not that crap. He's right here with those punches, like a centimeter away, and he's throwing live rounds at the guy. It looks so real because he started to, if you watched his career evolve, he started to get really deep into MMA and started like training for it and stuff like that. And you could see it enter his wrestling performance, and it made him such a more believable character. Not that he needed more believability, The Undertaker, but his offense looked so much better. But the selling component, to answer your question, Who's it? I can't read it. Samganda Chonka, right?
Yeah,
Samganda.
sorry for butchering your name.
Yeah, if I butchered it, my bad. But I just want to make sure I'm personalizing this. Is to bring more realism back. You got to put them in other elements because wrestling training is, and even if it's WWE, you can see it. They're not learning how to actually physically sell something of the body part that hurts. If they get slammed or something, yeah, they'll grab the back of their neck for a little bit, but they got to implement way, way more, in my opinion. But let me ask you one more question, Raj. Do you think maybe we're at a point now? You can see some of it with the AEW fans at their shows. I almost think we're getting to a point in pro wrestling where obviously everybody knows it's a work. Mm-hmm. Where now fans are coming to judge the two actors acting out their match and putting on all these great offensive moves. And that's now how they're judging everything. They're not really getting behind the good guy, because they really believe the good guy's getting his ass kicked, and they're starting to cheer for him, and they believe that they cheer louder, Cody's going to start coming up and start fighting from underneath. Now, they just know they're supposed to do that. Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying? So,
yeah. I feel like it's been like that for a while, ever since that "This is awesome" chant got started, which I've never liked that chant, because if you're at a football game or a sporting event, you're not chanting "This is awesome." You want your team to win.
No, that's a good point, actually. I never thought of it that way. I never thought of it that way. You're right, actually.
Yeah, I mean, in an MMA fight, you'll applaud and stuff, but you still want your guy to win. You know, if you're really behind someone and you got heels and baby faces, you should be so far behind the baby face that you're not happy with an awesome match. You want that baby face to win. Otherwise, it's like you're watching a performance, like a dance.
Right.
And to me, wrestling is always best when you're really behind someone. Like Roman and Cody is a perfect example.
Yeah, they did a great job of implementing real life stuff. Yeah, we know it's a work, but we wanted to see this guy win this title because we see what it's going to mean to him and his family for so long now. We're about to actually see it. This is great. Come on, Cody, let's go, kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. Our good friend Stellar Justin Lopez bringing up Double or Nothing is supposed to be one of their big pay-per-views, but they blew their whole load doing those two matches, Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay, and Swerve versus Samoa Joe at Dynasty. That's a great point. There is nothing on this card right now that really matches up to, as far as not only the promise of a good match, which whatever, but as far as storyline and everything and anticipation, I don't think and we'll give it a few. I mean, there's still a couple of weeks, but doesn't seem like there's anything that matches those two matches right now.
The Sosa. No, I won't do it. I'm just playing. But that's a good point, because Bryan and Ospreay's match, dude, I don't know if I got a chance to talk about it or not, but that blew my head off my shoulders. How impressed with that match I was. Good God. Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Will Ospreay, Bryan Danielson, there are a couple of those that they make it look like a fight when they want, and Ospreay, he does a lot of flashy stuff too, but he can make it look like a fight, and he's really hurting someone.
Yes, he can. Yes.
I mean, there are times you look at those movies, you're like, geez, he took his head off, but he didn't really hurt the guy. So it's pretty impressive. Jay Miller with another super chat. Thank you again, Jay Miller, 3389. Ilya and Ricochet was a great match on Raw. Thoughts on Ilya?
He's, again, another guy who could wrestle circles around me as an in-ring technician, right? But I'm still, call me old school, bitter old vet, whatever you want to call me. I like to have people pass the eye test, my eyeball test. And there's something about him still. I don't know if it's because he's short. I don't know what it is. He doesn't pass my eyeball test. But once that bell rings, then I start to watch it as a former wrestler and watching what he does. I'm very impressed with what he could do in that ring. No question. He's incredibly talented. Just, I don't know what you think you're going to get out of him, though. He's not going to be some headline act. No.
Yeah, he doesn't quite have that charisma, the mic skills like a top guy usually needs. But I agree with you. It kind of reminds me of Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano in NXT, where once their matches started, I find myself getting really, really into it. And, by the end, I'm like, holy crap, this is amazing. Yeah. But once it's done, I'm back to where I was. It's not like I'm like, okay, I can't wait to see what story he's in next or his next feud. But he's great in the ring. It just, you need, obviously you always need more than that to get to that upper level. Veggie Gamer bringing up our good friend Veggie Gamer. Haven't seen much of Ilya, but his entrance seems a bit comical to me. Guessing it isn't meant to be funny.
Wait, what did I miss?
So.
What's his entrance? What did I miss?
I'm missing that too.
Veggie Gamer, you got to explain better. I don't know what you
mean. But I think that about does it for this week. Matt, can you think of anything else that we didn't touch on? Oh, geez, I totally forgot the NBA. The third tier NBA rights are up, and the NBCU reportedly offered $2.5 billion to take that package away from WBD, which operates TNT, TBS, True TV, and the NBA has been on TNT since 1980. I want to see 1988. So it's been on TNT forever. So
I thought the Atlanta Hawks were on there before that too.
That's TBS.
Isn't that the same shit we're talking about or no?
Well, the TNT, I mean, they're both owned by Turner, but TNT has had the basketball, and MLB has been on TBS. And $2.5 billion to take it away. And NBC would be airing it on NBC proper broadcast network, as well as regional sports networks and USA, whereas Warner Brothers could only air it on TBS, TNT, and maybe True TV and stuff like that. So for them to really match the offer that NBC presented, they're saying they would have to actually offer $2.8 billion to match NBC's offer. And if they don't get it, TNT basically has nothing. They got Rampage and Collision, and they have the NHL, but NHL doesn't do numbers until, April through June. So it hurts it huge. It would hurt the carriage fees, but you would think it makes AEW that much more important to WBD. Their rights are up this year at the end of the year. You would think it would make it more worthwhile for them to sign AEW. Now, it came out that WBD is looking to cut expenses. This came out yesterday. They're going to be cutting expenses in streaming, laying people off. So they are in budget cut mode. They're $44 billion in debt. So it's just really interesting. Yeah, $44 billion in debt.
What does that mean for AEW? Anything or no?
Well, that's the thing. They should get some sort of offer, but whether it's a big money increase with the financial troubles that WBD has, it seems unlikely unless AEW can get another bidder that bids big on it, and they have the two bids going back and forth. Because otherwise, what's the incentive for WBD to offer a big increase when there's no need to, when they could keep it, with the small increase or at the same price?
So let me ask a question. Let's say they come back at the same price or a minor raise, let's say. Is that considered bad news for AEW or good?
It is. Yeah.
Which?
It's bad news.
Okay.
They need an increase to become, they need a solid increase to become profitable. They're not, they haven't been profitable yet. And with the big signings that they've had, the big money signings they've had over the past year with Edge and Jay White and Okada, Mercedes, they need that increase to really make a profit. So it's going to be something to keep your eye on this year.
So here's what I just don't get. I know Tony's a super fan. I get this has been his lifelong dream to eventually own his own company and be matchmaker. I get that. But doesn't he want to be remembered as being successful though? Do you know what I mean? So if that's the case, why not? I still understand what's stopping him from getting a booker brought in that he can trust. Okay, that will listen to some of his ideas, absolutely, because he's the owner. Yeah. But be able to help the part that he needs help with. He has this gigantic super roster of insanely talented wrestlers. There's no reason they should be doing these numbers.
I kind of think that Tony probably feels like the product is good. And, in a lot of ways it is good as far as in-ring,
once the bell rings, yes.
Yeah. And a lot of the interviews and everything are good. But as far as the stories, yes. I would say they're pretty poor. And then the follow-up, they'll do something big one week. And then, Kenny Omega almost got killed last week.
Yes.
And then he's just in a hospital bed making matches. This week, I just feel like they need bigger follow-ups, making things feel like a big deal and escalating these rivalries as opposed to just having them fizzle out. So I think they do need a booker or someone that could help with stories, but I almost wonder if Tony just feels like the storytelling is fine.
What does he say? Much in his Twitter thing, always well-deserved pop for
Right.
whatever match is there.
All right, justified. This is awesome chance for insert match here.
That's it. That's it.
Sam with another super chat. Thank you, Sam. Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes, Theory, or Trick Williams. Who has the highest ceiling? Ooh.
He gave us permission to call him Sam in a different comment. So
Was it Sam or Sam?
I think, go back. He said Sam. SOM.
Okay. Sorry, Sam.
Come on, get your ish together,
there it is.
Giri. All right. Breaker, boy. Ugh. So everyone's gonna say, I'm guessing most people are gonna say either Braun or Trick.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's Austin Theory. I'm sorry.
Wow. Interesting.
I do. They're not using him right now. They dropped the ball big time after that Cena WrestleMania win. They also screwed up having Cena bury him the way he did before that WrestleMania match. That didn't help him at all. So I'm taking all that out of it because you're asking me like who has the highest potential. Mm-hmm. It should be him. It should be him. Well, if we want to detail it more and say for WWE specifically, that's a different question. It's true. It's going to be Braun Breaker because he's already on the fast track, right? He's already their golden boy.
Yeah, but does he have the mics?
No, Trick will talk circles around him. Hell no.
Yeah, that's kind of why. Unless they do something with Braun like they did with Brock, where putting him with Heyman, let Heyman do most of his talking. Something like that. Braun's not bad on the mic, but he's not a main event level. Maybe he can get there, but I just don't see it. Trick, I think, has all the tools. He's still working to get better in the ring. So I'm going to go Trick, but it also depends on how they use Braun.
Trick is the whole package, dude.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yep.
And Justin Lopez pointing out that in an interview with ESPN, Charles Barkley shared that it never took WBD this long to match the offer rights in all his years. He fears for the jobs of the TNT crew, not his own. TNT loses a huge part of its identity, losing the NBA. So it is a huge, it's a big media rights story for sure.
Hey, earlier on when you brought it up, though, you said third tier NBA rights. What does that mean?
So ABC and Amazon have got, I'm sorry, it might be the second tier, but ABC and Amazon, they have the main package. And so that's going to be like the playoff games, things like that. And then NBC, WBD would get regular season, some regular season games, things like that. So the finals will be not included with NBC or WBD, depending on who gets that.
Okay, I'm almost positive I could have sworn watching Jordan play the Hawks on TBS before '88.
Yeah. Wait. The Hawks? Who are you talking about?
The Hawks was on TBS when I was a kid. That's how I used to be able to see Jordan play. Like in 85, 86, I want to say.
Okay, so this is where my lack of sports knowledge is.
Okay, so I'll tell you, I just figured it out. It's not NBA rights. It's Atlanta sports rights. It's the Hawks, the Hawks and the, what do you call it? The Braves rights.
The Braves. I got
because
I was thinking Hawks owns them. Baseball.
Because Ted Turner owns them naturally, right? So that's different. That's not NBA right. Never mind.
Yeah. And another big thing is that another big story is that Netflix, by bringing on WWE is kind of like the first normal, regular sporting show that they're going to do, or sports adjacent. And now they're in talks with the NFL, and they're the front runner to get the Christmas Day games. So they'd be getting the Christmas Day NFL games on Netflix. So Netflix getting into sports, it's only going to keep getting bigger and bigger from here.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. What do you think of the NBA only being offered, though? I'm saying only 2.5. Was it 2.5 billion? You said versus WWE getting $5 bills.
Well, WWE's $5 bills is over 5 years, so it's $1 bill a year.
What was NBA's?
2.5 per year.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
How many years?
11. Yeah.
Holy crap! So what is that, like 20-something billion?
Yeah, that's 250 plus another 275.
Can you imagine what that
Oh,
would
no. 25 billion plus another 2.5. So 27.5. Sorry. It's still early in the day. I haven't had all my coffee.
Rise, if those were all $100 bills. Well, what am I saying? I was going to say, what would that, can you imagine what that would physically look like? You could just go check your outhouse. I'm sure you have it.
with pennies maybe, but no, it's crazy the money that's still going into all the major sports. And obviously that's Nick Khan actually called this years ago, where the major sports are going to get more and more money, and then it's the secondary stuff, the Bellators, which is actually isn't around anymore, PFLs, AEWs, they're going to get find it harder and harder to compete for those rights fees.
What the hell is PFL?
Professional Fight League. It's they bought Bellator MMA League. They're on ESPN.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So so that about does it for this week. We'll be back next Friday, ideally at 7 p.m. Eastern, right before SmackDown. But if because of our schedules we have to do it earlier, we'll let you know.
Yeah.
But next week on Friday, and if anything breaks during the week, make sure to hit that notification button, because we'll be back for a quick hit with any major stories breaking. Hit the notification. Again, like, subscribe. It really helps us out a lot. We really appreciate it. It only takes a second. And also leave a comment. I think people have been seeing over the past few months that we try as often as we can to reply to all the comments, that you guys leave. So leave a comment. If you're on iTunes, any podcast, Google Podcast, leave a review, give us a like, and we definitely appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Appreciate y'all very much for following us on this journey, being back together again. And we love doing it. So please, everything Raj just said, just do it, please. Thank you.
Thank you. And we will see you guys next week. Take care. Have a great weekend.
Bye.